Hello, Slicey Dicers. This is Brian with my first top 10 knives of 2020 video. This is the top 10 under $100. This is the first of three, which, yeah, is new. I usually only do two. I do top 10 under 100, top 10 over 100. A lot of you guys justifiably pointed out that was a bit unfair because, especially the over 100, I'm comparing, $120 knives with $400 or $500 knives. That was unfair to them, so I am now splitting it up. Same as Nick Shabazz does. Good old Papa Nick. I think he does have the formula right. 100 and under, 100 to 300, and then there will be a top 5 for over 300. I think that kind of reflects the buying habits of my viewers, so that's the way that I'm going to do it. And also, over 300, you get into all kinds of stuff about availability, because I do try and make everything on my list to be pretty widely available. Not ever a problem in this under 100. A little bit of a problem in the 100 to 300, often a problem in the 300 and up. So I always have to factor in availability. So there's only going to be 5, because a lot of them that I really like, you just flat out can't get, and I'm not going to put them on a list. So this is the under 100. I'm going to do something a little bit different this year that I think you guys will enjoy. I'm going to put these in no particular order except the top 3. And then those top 3 are going to go into my community page, and you can vote. I'm going to put a little poll up with those top 3, and you can vote which ones you want to win. I think that will be a lot of fun. I'm just doing the top 3 for that, though. So other than that, nothing's in any particular order. Rules for this. First of all, most importantly, must have come out in 2020. Must be a new knife for 2020. The most angry comments I get on these videos are, "You forgot the whatever," and it's a knife that came out 2 years ago. I mean, I can't do top 10 of all time of everything every year. That would just be kind of ridiculous. So has to have been released in 2020. And 2020 stops on the day I'm recording this, which is December 8th, 2020. I shouldn't tempt 2020 to stop today. It might. Who knows? We're almost there. I shouldn't say that. I feel like one of those guys at the end of a war movie, where he's like, the helicopter's right over there, Billy, we made it. And then a bomb goes off. But no, it has to. I chop it off at this day. I can't keep going forever and do all the videos on January 31st. For example, I do know like there's a new Ferrum Forge coming out on Friday that might stand a chance to make this list. There's another knife coming out that might stand to make the 100 to 300. But I'm not going to have those in time, so we're just doing this. Lastly, I have to have actually experienced it. There's one on this list that I didn't do a review on. It was a weird thing. It came in, I got to handle it for about half a day, and then I had to send it off to somebody else. It messed up with USPS, and the other guy really needed to get it really quick, so that's what happened to it. So that one I did not get to do a full review on. There's another one here that would just appear briefly in a video, but the full review hasn't been published yet. But I have had a lot of experience with. But yeah, mostly this is all stuff that I actually reviewed. If I haven't experienced it, it ain't going to be on the list. And a lot of your complaints, too, are just stuff that I never got my hands on. So that's why it's not on the list. All right. Also, lastly, one more thing. I said last, but one more thing. I try to do one per manufacturer. It doesn't always work out that way. Sometimes 2 squeak in from one manufacturer. But I really try to do one per manufacturer because it just makes sense. I could just load the list up with CIVIVIs. But obviously there's one CIVIVI I like more, so I just pick that one. That kind of makes sense to me, so that's why I do it that way. All right, enough explaining. There won't be as much explaining in the next videos. Let's get going. Again, in no particular order until we reach the top 3, which I will tell you when we get there. First up is the QSP Penguin. This is the one that I only had for like a day and had to send it on. This is a link from White Mountain Knives website. Go to whitemountainKnives.com, use the code SDWMK, check out and get 10% off. It's currently out of stock there, as you can see, but it's a regular production model. It'll be back. $30, D2 steel. This is the blue jean minecarta, but there are other colors available. I chose this color for the picture because it's the one that I briefly got to have. And I did really, really like it. Perhaps not as much as some of you did. This is definitely, I think, the fan favorite. Wow, a whole lot of you guys really rave about this thing. Really nice blade, a D2 steel, pretty slicey. I like sheep's feet blades. It looks really cool. The ergos were okay. That's the reason why it's not farther up the list in the top 3, just because it's not. The ergos were good, weren't amazing. But the action is outstanding. I see why you guys like it so much. So it made the list, even though I very briefly got to handle one. If I'd have had it for longer, maybe I'd been more impressed with it. But I will get another one and do a full review probably in January or so. But I do really want to get my hands on another one of those. Next up is the Kizer Vanguard Gemini Micarta. This is not in the top 3 because it barely qualifies. Remember I said that whole got to be new for 2020 thing? This is N690 steel, which is they've just started using that, and the micarta handles are new for this year, and they are contoured where some of the previous versions of the Gemini Vanguard were not. They were kind of blocky G10, and then they have always had the higher end titanium, S35 VN1. Why I like this knife so much though, and why I could not stop myself from putting it on the list, is the blocky G10 Gemini wasn't as comfortable in the hand. The higher end titanium one was nicely contoured, but it was really slippery and always wanted to come flying out of my hand. This is the Goldilocks zone. This is perfect. The micarta on this, just the right amount of grip. Still has all those great ergonomics that the Gemini has. Still that great, awesome size. And it's only $75. So I do really like the Gemini a lot, but couldn't justify putting in the top 3 because it's barely a new knife. Next up, we have the Scentcut Actium. This is a screenshot from one of my morning pocket dump videos. This is CIVIVI's new sub brand that's only available on Amazon. Not in love with that fact because in New York I can't buy flipper knives from a lot of knives from Amazon because Amazon has just decreed that a bunch of knives are illegal in New York when they 100% are not. This is one of them. But I know there's some other state, too, that is going through the same thing that we are, and they're never going to change it. So that's the way that is. But luckily, I know people at so they sent me some Scentcuts directly. They only have 2 models available right now. This is the Actium. This is the one I like the most. D2 steel, fairly reminiscent of the Backlash, which is probably my favorite all-time CIVIVI. So that's a good thing. It's purple. I like that, but that's not why it's on the list. It comes in other colors. I don't particularly care for the coated blade on this one, but I believe some of the other ones are not coated. $44, again, only available on Amazon. I'm just going to link straight to the Amazon link down below. I'm not going to link to my morning pocket dump thing. I gave some quick little first impressions, but it was by no means a full review. There will be a full review of this. I'm kind of trying to finish that up this week because I'm sending this and another Scentcut and another knife off to MC for him to check out. So keep an eye out for that pretty quickly. But yeah, still great knife, $44. It does look a lot like a Backlash, which is fine because it's the same company. They can copy themselves if they want to, but it does have a thumb stud on it. Some things I like better about the Backlash. Some things I like the Backlash better. So did I say the same thing twice? You know what I meant. All right, on to the next one. This is the CGRB Feldspar. I know a lot of you guys are expecting me to say the RIA, but honestly, I do like the Feldspar a little bit better. And again, trying to do that whole, one per company thing, one per brand. I just really like the Feldspar. I love the ergonomics of it. Very snappy, nice action with a thumb stud. These are the 2 that I had with the brown and the copper little, or they brass rings around the pivot. I happened to keep the small. I sold the large one. I did keep the small one. They range in price between $35 and $53. They come in lots of different material choices and stuff, as is often the case with CGRB. CGRB is the budget range of artisan cutlery, by the way, if you don't know. But it's just a great knife. I do really like it a whole lot. D2 steel, and again, $35 to $53. And the comfort on these, they carry very well. They're extremely comfortable in the hand. Highly recommend them. Next up, this one was a big surprise to me. The CKRT Pete. CRKT Pete. There. I think I got it right for the 5th time. Really cool little knife. Ergos are great. I love the little pop of blue back here. Yeah, it's got cheap plastic handles, and the steel is nothing to write home about. But the plastic actually feels pretty good. It is right-hand, left-hand. It deploys really well. It's a very EDC-able little size. It's not a big knife, but I think it works pretty well. And it's $30. And this is a knife that you're going to see in, big box stores and places like that, and, blister packs and whatnot. And that's great for the hobby. That CRKT does a good job. I know a lot of us knife enthusiasts look down our nose at them, but at those blister pack knives. But as long as it's a good knife and it's getting people into the hobby, it's a good thing for everybody. Just it's a good thing for everybody. The ocean raises all ships, whatever that freaking phrase is. It's a good thing for everybody. And as long as CRKT continues to pump out knives like this, the Montosa almost made this list as well for the same reason. I think that's good for everybody. Keep at it, CRKT. I have no problem with what you're doing. Doesn't mean I'm going to buy all of them, but I'm not your market. And you're doing well with your market, and sometimes your market becomes our market, and we like that. Next up is the Quiet Carry Eddy. Not in the top 3 because it's barely under $100. This is $99, but it is 20 CV. There are LC200N ones out now as well, I believe. And it is a very small little knife. This is definitely kind of a 5th pocket size knife, but under $100, you're still getting that. I think Quiet Carry has definitely, amongst us enthusiasts, earned itself a bit of cool factor for sure. With the waypoint and stuff, a lot of us knife reviewers have raved about that, and they've had the chase this year, which was also excellent. I think they've earned that little bit of cool factor, and the Eddy is just a really great little 5th pocket knife. It's very cool, and again, awesome steals for the price for anything under 100, even if it's only $1 under 100. 20 CVs, pretty awesome, even though it is a pretty small knife. Cannot knock that at all. Love the Eddy, very cool knife. Lastly, before we get to the top 3, would be the Kershaw Launch 11. It's not in the top 3 solely because it's an auto. And again, it's one that barely comes in. This comes in 5 cents under $100, $99.95. But love the look of it. Very snappy action. Really good quality build. Really good size as well. With an auto, you got to think sometimes this isn't too small to be useful, but it's not so big that it going thwack is going to scare the hell out of everybody. I just really like the Launch 11. By far my favorite Kershaw Launch. I've held most of them now and reviewed a lot of them, and I think this is by far my favorite. I actually sold this one and kind of want to get it back. It's a great knife, a really, really good one. So now, let's go to the top 3, and these are in order. So, these are the ones that you guys will vote on for the Viewer's Choice Awards on New Year's Eve. They'll be announced on New Year's Eve. First up, at number 3, the Cold Steel Airlite. This is a knife that I've described multiple times as just greater than the sum of its parts. I don't know how else to describe it. $75 and AUS 10A steel, which I have really good experience with, but it's nothing that's going to excite anyone. I think it's a really good steel, but I don't think anybody really goes, well, yay, AUS 10A. But the handles are just, basic G10. It's just a basic backlock design, thumb stud opening, your typical kind of cold steel, triad lock, that kind of stuff. But you put it all together, and man, it's a good knife. This is the Tanto. I like Tantos. Given the option lately, I almost always choose a Tanto, but it does come in a regular drop point as well, I believe. But yeah, $75 is not, when you look at the stats on a page, it may feel a bit overpriced, but when you get one in your hand, wow, it's a great knife. It has kind of a funky looking pocket clip, but that actually works extremely well. I love the Airlite. This is a design that Andrew Demko was quietly very proud of, and also who knows what's happening with Cold Steel now? They got bought by some big conglomerate, so we'll see if this knife even continues. But for 2020, it's awesome, greater than the sum of its parts. If you're one of these people right now panic buying Cold Steels, which I think is probably a bit premature to do that, but if you are, grab you one of these, $75. You will not be disappointed. Awesome, awesome, awesome little lightweight EDC knife. In second place is the Ferrum Forge Stinger, $90. But it has Nitro V steel, which you hardly ever see. And I think that's great, especially in a folding knife. Rare to see Nitro V. They do a really good job with it. I've had 2 Nitro V steel knives now. I can say this one is definitely much better heat treated than the previous one. Ergos are great, very snappy action. It's made by the CIVIVI conglomerate, so you know that it's going to be a really good action on it. Not quite drop shutty, but it's a very thin, light blade, so that makes sense. Carries very well. Again, I think it looks really cool. I like this little Ferrum Forge, pivot. That's that's just little attentions to detail that make you feel like you're getting something special. And you kind of are, because Ferrum Forge used to only make very expensive special knives. Now they have become kind of this, designer and make, third party built, mostly all knives. But I love this evolution of Ferrum Forge. They've made some amazing stuff out of this. There's been some really great knives on here. They had two that I considered putting on this. I had the Mini Arch, and then there's the CIVIVI Ortis. Like, all those almost made the list, but I really like the Stinger just that little bit better. Great knife. Comes in multiple different colors. I believe it did come in a carbon fiber initially, but those they only do one run and usually are done. I don't know if they're going to ever have those back again, but they do say this is going to be a regular production knife. I do believe they might be out of stock at the moment, but the Ferrum Forge is pivoting more to just regularly having stuff in stock, and this is one of the first knives they're going to be doing that with. So $90, really close to first place. But then I got this. Yes, it's a CIVIVI. I know I had a I know I had a Scentcut on, but this is still a different brand technically. Yes, the new CIVIVI Ortis just came out, $30. It's 9CR18 MOV steel, which I prefer to the D2 stuff. Fancy plastic handles, yes, but some of the best FRN handles I've ever handled, and that great usual snappy CIVIVI action, and it's just the right size for most people's EDC. I think it's a little over 3 inches or right at 3 inches. Not a big knife, but man, I do really, really, really like it. It's been my favorite CIVIVI of the year, and I've reviewed most of them. It's kind of hard to keep up on all of them, but I've reviewed most of them, and just that price is just pretty unbeatable. Beautiful little clip point blade, hollow grind. I think this was like 13, 14 thousandths behind the edge. Slices like a dream. Again, $30. So this is my knife of the year for 2020 for under $100, and it's well under 100. If I did it under 50, it would also win that. Great knife. So those are going to be the three you were voting on: is this CIVIVI Ortis, the Ferrum Forge Stinger, and the Cold Steel Airlite. I will try and get that poll up on the community page. Pretty much, I'll wait till right as this video is publishing, and then I'll put that up there. So go vote away, and then we'll have a fun little video on New Year's Eve announcing what you guys chose of my top 3. But this is definitely my choice. Well done, CIVIVI. Love the Ortis. Great knife. Hope you guys have enjoyed this. And again, look ahead, and probably by the weekend I will have my top 10 between 100 and 300. Shortly thereafter, the over 300, so that you guys can get to voting. Hope you guys have enjoyed this. I've been Brian. Have a good one.